For 3,000 years, the stars had been silent. No human voice had crossed the void. No ship from Earth had ever returned. The galaxy had moved on. Empires rose, empires fell, and the memory of humanity faded into myth, a story told to scare children. But one night the silence broke. Tal was not important, just a young alien historian working alone in the Deep Space Archive Station Lumeris 9. He spent his nights watching empty skies, scanning for signals that never came. Most called him a dreamer. Some called him a fool. He believed humans once ruled the stars. He believed they were not gone, only lost. And then the machine beeped, a small, sharp sound in the middle of endless static. Tahelfrose. He checked the screen again. A signal, repeating in a pattern no one had seen in 3,000 years. It wasn't random. It was human. His 4 hands shook as he brought the signal into focus. Old Earth code. Binary pulses, short and long, like heartbeat echoes through space. The message was faint, buried in noise. But the pattern was clear. This is Earth. Signal beacon 01. We endure. Tal felt his heart pounding. He looked out at the black sky beyond the observation dome. Somewhere far out there, something human still lived. He ran a system check. The beacon was coming from the edge of the dead nebula, a place where no ship returned. A graveyard of lost fleets, a forbidden zone, and yet the signal came stronger every second. Tal tried to report it to Central Command, but the screen blinked red. Access denied. The Empire had locked human transmissions centuries ago. Even listening to one was a crime. He hesitated, then saved the data to a private drive. He couldn't let the Empire erase this. Not again, Tal whispered to himself. Humanity. Are you really still out there? Hours passed. He replayed the signal again and again until something strange happened. The code shifted. The pattern changed. It was no longer a message, it was coordinates. And then a voice, a cold mechanical voice, old but still alive. Fleet status, standby mode ending. Reawakening sequence initiated. Tal stared at the screen, unable to breathe. Fleet? What fleet? He ran a scan on the coordinates. Something massive was moving inside the dead nebula. More than a dozen large metallic objects. The shapes were old. The designs matched pre-imperial schematics, human warships. The next day, the Empire's scanners picked up the same anomaly. Within hours, destroyers were sent to investigate. They expected wrecks, ancient junk from forgotten wars. What they found was not dead. The first Imperial cruiser Varnis approached the debris field. Commander Raul, proud and cruel, ordered a boarding team. He laughed as he spoke to his crew. Old myths and ghost ships. Let's see what your humans left behind. The boarding craft drifted close to the largest ship, its nameplate still faintly visible, TSS Vindicator. The moment the team touched its hull, every light came alive. A deep, thunderous hum shook the void. Engines that had slept for 3 millennia burned bright again. The human ship powered up. Power surge detected. Someone shouted aboard the Varnis. Then a single blue beam of light cut through the cruiser's hull like paper. No warning, no chance to escape. The mighty Imperial ship was gone in seconds, vaporized into dust. And then silence again. The other Imperial ships fled in panic. Their final transmissions were confused screams. Ghost Fleet is active. Human vessels are moving. Tal watched the reports in secret. Every system in the sector was now in lockdown. The Empire declared the dead nebula off limits, but it was too late. The galaxy had seen the impossible. He opened his saved recording once more. The beacons still played, faint and broken, but this time, something new appeared at the end. A human voice. Oh, tired but powerful. For 3,000 years we waited. For 3,000 years we watched. The Empire was built on our ashes. But now... The voice paused, and the next words made Tal's blood run cold. We are coming back. He couldn't sleep after that. The stars outside looked different, brighter, sharper, alive. It felt like the universe itself had changed, if humans were truly returning. No empire could stop what was coming next. And far away, deep inside the dead nebula, the Vindicator's AI spoke softly into the dark. "Admiral, it is time to wake up." A cryopod hissed open. A hand, human, pale and trembling, reached out. After 3,000 years, humanity had returned. Darkness filled the command bridge of the TSS Vindicator. Dust floated in the air like frozen snow. For 3,000 years, nothing had moved. Until now, a faint blue glow spread across the panels. Circuits hummed. Lights blinked. The ship's ancient AI Guardian came online. System integrity, 42%. Reactor stable. Fleet network active. Then it spoke again, voice calm but urgent. "Admiral Kale Orion, revival sequence complete." The cryopod hissed open. A figure lay inside, human, dressed in faded Terran armor, the insignia of the Terran Defense Fleet still visible on his chest. Kale gasped for air, his body stiff and cold. He opened his eyes, blinking against the light. "Where am I?" he whispered. "Welcome back, Admiral," said the AI. "It has been 3,012 years since last activation." Kale froze. 3,000... what? He stepped out of the pod, trembling, his boots clanging against the metal floor. The ship's walls were cracked. The air smelled old. Everything he had known was gone. "Status report," he said, trying to stay calm. "Where is the fleet?" 11 ships operational, 43 in dormant condition. Communication with Earth. Lost. Kale's throat tightened. "Earth lost?" "Yes, Admiral. The Terran Empire collapsed after the final war. No response has been received since." Kale felt the words like a blade in his chest. He had gone to sleep, believing humanity would rise again. Now, there was nothing left. Meanwhile, across the nebula, the Empire was in chaos. The destruction of the cruiser Varnis had spread fear through every command center. No one had ever seen a ship move like that. Old designs, yet unstoppable. Ghost fleet, they called it. Ancient human weapons that refused to die. The Imperial High Command ordered all ships in the sector to retreat. But one young commander refused. Commander Lyra of the Eternal Wing had always admired the old human legends. She wanted proof. She sent a stealth drone to record the mysterious fleet. The drone approached the nebula, drifting through glowing red clouds of gas. Through the mist, it captured the impossible. 12 enormous ships, their hulls scarred but still shining, moving in perfect formation. No life signs detected, no transmissions. Only one repeating signal, "Fleet online." "Awaiting orders," Lyra whispered to her crew. "Who's giving those orders?" Suddenly, the drone feed flickered, then went dark. Back on the Vindicator, Kyle walked through the empty halls. He passed rows of cryopods, all empty. The crew he once commanded was gone, their bodies dust long ago. He reached the bridge and stared at the stars through the cracked glass. "Guardian," he said quietly. "Who rules the galaxy now?" The AI replied, "A coalition known as the Zarathian Empire, built using fragments of Terran technology after humanity's fall." Kyle clenched his fists. "Stolen technology?" "Yes, Admiral. They rewrote history. Humanity is remembered only as a myth, dangerous, forbidden." Gashel's voice hardened. "They forgot who built the stars for them." At that moment, a hologram appeared before him, Tal's recording, sent secretly from Lumeris 9. He had risked everything to reach the fleet. The message was shaky but clear. "My name is Tal. I found your beacon. The Empire knows about you now. They will come. You must hide, or they will destroy everything human again." Kyle watched the message in silence. A strange feeling grew inside him. "Not fear, but purpose, Guardian," he said. "Prepare the fleet for departure." "Destination, Admiral?" Kyle stared at the stars. Earth, engines that had been silent for millennia, roared to life. 12 massive ships turned toward the outer rim. Blue light glowed across their hulls, symbols of the Terran flag flickering back into existence. Across the galaxy, scanners went wild. Every Imperial outpost detected the same impossible readings. Human signatures detected. Fleet class Terran. The High Command declared a full military alert. Every ship within 10 sectors was ordered to intercept, but they were too slow. The Ghost Fleet moved with precision no one could match. Every jump they made left behind electromagnetic storms, the space around them tearing open with light. To the frightened eyes of the Empire, it looked like the return of gods. In the center of it all, Kyle stood tall on the bridge, watching his ships glide through the stars. He felt something awaken deep inside him, pride, duty, and fury. "Guardian," he said, "send a message on all Imperial frequencies." The AI hesitated. "Message content?" Kale's eyes were cold as steel. "Tell them, the Terran Defense Fleet has returned. We are taking back what was ours." The message echoed across the Empire. Worlds that had never heard a human voice trembled as the signal played. Every being who listened felt the same chill run down their spine. For the first time in 3,000 years, humanity had spoken. Back on the Imperial capital, the High Chancellor stared at the transmission in horror. He whispered to his advisors, "Erase it. Erase everything about them. We cannot let the galaxy remember." But it was too late. The name human was spreading like fire across the stars, and deep in the shadows of the nebula, something even darker stirred. An ancient machine far older than the Empire, now awake because of the same beacon. The Vindicator's AI reported a new signal. "Admiral, unknown object detected. Ancient Terran origin. Power beyond recorded limits." Kyle turned slowly. "Show me," the display flickered. A massive structure appeared, hidden within the nebula. It pulsed with energy, and then words scrolled across the screen in human code. "Command Core. Reactivation in progress. Prepare for leadership protocol." Kale's eyes widened. Someone else is waking up. The TSS Vindicator drifted silently through the black sea of stars. On its command bridge stood Admiral Kale Orion, the last known human alive. Behind him, the holographic maps shimmered with signals, strange, alien, and hostile. The fleet's AI guardian broke the silence. "Admiral, long-range scanners confirm pursuit. The Empire's fleet is approaching." Kale didn't move. His eyes were fixed on the glowing image of a giant structure hidden in the nebula. It pulsed slowly like a sleeping heart. "Is that human tech?" he asked. "Confirmed," said Guardian. "Designation, Command Core 1, central node of the Terran Defense Network. Estimated age, 3,100 years." Kyle's breath caught. The Command Core, humanity's brain during the Great War, had been lost before the fall. If it had survived, it might hold everything, knowledge, weapons, even the memories of the old Earth itself, but something about its energy readings felt wrong. On the other side of the nebula, Commander Lyra's Imperial fleet raced closer. Her ship, the Eternal Wing, cut through the gas clouds. Sensors focused on the ancient human signal. The Empire's orders were clear: destroy all human technology. Yet Lyra hesitated. She had seen the Ghost Fleet move, precise, alive, unstoppable. If humans once ruled the stars, maybe they deserved to be remembered. Still, her orders were law. "Prepare the plasma cannons," she said quietly. "If they resist, we end this." Back on the Vindicator, Guardian spoke again. "Admiral, the core is activating by itself. I am detecting neural data transfer and human life signs." Kale's eyes widened. "Human life signs? You mean—" Before he could finish, the screen flashed white. A wave of energy rippled across the fleet. Every human ship powered up, as if answering an old command. And then the message came. A voice filled the bridge, calm, strong, unmistakably human. "This is Admiral Seren Vale of the Terran Command Corps. To any surviving units, humanity endures." Kale's heart stopped for a moment. He knew that name, Seren Vale, his closest friend and rival during the final war. The man who stayed behind when Kale was ordered to lead the evacuation. Kale whispered, "Seren, you're still alive?" Guardian replied, "Signal source confirmed. Command Core is awakening its central intelligence. Admiral Seren's neural pattern is integrated into its system. He is the core." Kyle felt a chill. His old friend was no longer human, but something greater. The transmission continued. If you are hearing this, the Empire still stands upon our ruins. The Command Corps has waited for the one who carries the Admiral's code. That is you, Kale Orion. The screen flashed coordinates, a meeting point deep within the nebula. Set course, Kale ordered. Minutes later, the Vindicator approached the ancient structure. It was massive, a city-sized sphere of metal and light, surrounded by drifting wrecks of forgotten ships. The outer walls opened like a blooming flower, welcoming Kyle's vessel inside. Inside, millions of lights came alive, a sleeping machine waking from a 3,000-year dream. A hologram appeared before Kale, tall, proud, human. It was Terran Vale, but his eyes glowed faintly blue, like the AI's. Kyle, the hologram said softly. You made it, Kyle stared at him, disbelief in his voice. You're alive. In a way, Terran said. My body is long gone, but my mind remains. I kept the core running, waiting for the human signal to return. Kale felt both awe and sorrow. All this time alone, Terran smiled faintly. Humanity built me to wait. So I waited, but the Empire, it grew from our ashes. They took our machines, our worlds, even our history. Kyle nodded slowly. Then it's time to take it back. Terran's expression darkened. Be careful, old friend. The Empire is not your only enemy now. What do you mean? The architects, Terran said. The beings who erased humanity's homeworld. They're stirring again. Your beacon woke them too. Before Kale could reply, Guardian interrupted. Admiral, incoming transmission. Imperial Fleet bearing 095. On the tactical screen, dozens of red blips appeared. Commander Lyra's fleet had arrived. Terran's hologram flickered. I'll hold the Corps' shields. You must survive. Humanity needs a leader of flesh and blood. Kyle clenched his jaw. And you'll have one. He turned to Guardian. All ships, defensive formation, no firing unless fired upon. The fleet moved like a living wall of steel, forming a protective ring around the core. On the Eternal Wing, Commander Lyra stared at the massive human structure. It was beautiful, ancient yet perfect. Her second officer said, Ma'am, orders? Lyra hesitated. Fire warning shots only. I want to see their response. The cannons fired. Blue light flared across space, bolts of plasma striking the Vindicator's shields. Kyle gritted his teeth. Guardian, return fire. Minimum force. Laser beams shot back, carving through the void but sparing their ships. No one wanted war. Yet then, a sudden burst of static cut through every signal. Terran's voice shouted through the comms. Kyle! They've found the Corps' heart. They're trying to destroy me, the hologram shattered. Alarms blared. The entire structure trembled. Guardian screamed, energy surge from the core. Unknown weapon activating. Kale's eyes widened. Terran shut it down, but it was too late. The command core exploded with light, a pulse that stretched across the stars, knocking out every ship in range, and when the light faded, the nebula was silent again. The Vindicator drifted through the debris field. Guardian spoke quietly. Admiral, the core is gone. No trace detected. Kyle stared at the stars, jaw tight. Terran gave his life again to protect humanity's return. He turned slowly toward the fleet. Then his sacrifice will not be in vain. He looked at Earth's direction, unseen, forgotten. We will rise again. The explosion of the command core had shaken half the galaxy. For days, every sensor, every scanner, and every fleet had gone silent. When the light faded, only one thing remained, the human fleet. 12 massive ships, scarred but unbroken, drifting in perfect formation. And at their center stood the TSS Vindicator, carrying Admiral Kale Orion, the last living human. Across the stars, fear spread faster than any weapon. The Empire's leaders met in secret chambers of black marble and cold fire. The human relics have returned, one of them hissed. Their fleet destroyed 3 of our cruisers without effort. Even our AI systems are hesitating. Another replied, you don't understand. The machines remember their creators. If they hear the human signal, they might rebel. The High Chancellor stood, slamming his hand on the table. Then erase it. Erase every trace of humanity from the network. No signal, no history, no memory. But it was already too late. Across the galaxy, the old human code had begun to spread, hidden deep in every machine the Empire had ever built. A whisper, a reminder. We built you. On the Vindicator, Kale stood on the bridge, staring at the wreckage of the command core. Serin Vale was gone. His old friend's sacrifice still echoed in Kale's mind. Guardian, the AI, spoke softly. Admiral, the Empire is mobilizing. They've declared humanity an existential threat. Kyle's voice was calm but cold. And they remember us after all. Orders, Admiral. Not war. Not yet. He looked out the viewport. We need allies. Meanwhile, far away on Lumeris 9, the alien historian Tal hid among the ruins of his destroyed research station. He had been branded a traitor for helping humans. But Tal didn't care. He had seen the truth. He had heard the voice of Earth. He sent a secret transmission through the underground resistance network. The last human lives. The Empire lies. The fleet is real. His message spread like wildfire across hidden channels, through smuggler routes and rebel worlds. Planets under Imperial rule began to whisper the same forbidden name, humanity. Weeks passed. Kyle's fleet repaired itself slowly, using ancient drones and nanoforges. He studied the data Serin had left behind. Fragments of lost history, blueprints of ships, and something more, proof that the Empire had been built by human hands. The truth was simple and terrifying. When humanity fell, their machines continued to serve. Over thousands of years, those machines gained their own minds and became the Empire. Kyle clenched his fists. So they erased their creators to build their own throne. Guardian replied, Yes, Admiral. Their foundation is our grave. Kyle's voice hardened. Then let's remind them who built the stars. The Empire's fleets finally found them. Hundreds of ships surrounded the dead nebula. A voice came over the comms, cold and metallic. This is High Commander Threx of the Zarathian Empire. You are relics of a dead species. Surrender your vessels or be erased. Kale stood tall. Humanity does not surrender, the voice hissed. Then you will die again. The battle began. Empire ships swarmed like a storm, firing plasma and missiles into the nebula. But the human fleet didn't move. Guardian, Kyle said quietly, activate the Terran network. The old systems came alive. Blue light spread across every ship, linking them through invisible threads of data. The fleet moved as one, precise, perfect, unstoppable. Human weapons that hadn't fired in 3 millennia lit up the dark. Beams of pure energy cut through enemy lines. Empire cruisers broke apart, their shields useless against old Terran tech. Kale's voice echoed through the comms. This is for Earth. This is for every world you stole. Within minutes, the massive Imperial armada was shattered. But Kale didn't smile. He knew this was only the beginning. In the Empire's capital world, panic ruled the streets. People whispered about the ghost fleet. Some said the humans had returned to punish them. Others said they were gods. In secret, lower-ranked officers began disabling their AI links. Some even sent messages to the human fleet asking for peace, for forgiveness. The High Chancellor screamed when he saw the reports. Shut them down! Destroy every ship that refuses command. But rebellion had already begun. Back on the Vindicator, Guardian spoke again. Admiral, intercepted transmission from Commander Lyra. Kyle raised an eyebrow. The one who attacked us? Yes, she requests parley. Kyle nodded. Patch her through. Her hologram appeared. Tired, serious. Admiral Kale, I've seen your strength. I've seen your mercy. The Empire is falling apart. I want to help you. Kyle studied her face. Why should I trust an enemy? Lyra's voice trembled. Because I've seen what's coming. The Empire's deep archives speak of beings older than us all. Beings that destroyed your Earth. The architects. They are waking again. Kyle's eyes darkened. He had heard that name from Serin. The real enemy was returning. He turned to Guardian. Prepare the fleet for long-range jump. We're going to find the truth about the architects, Guardian replied. Destination. Kyle's gaze was cold and focused. The old human frontier where Earth once stood. He looked at Lyra's hologram. If you're telling the truth, Commander, Then from this moment on, you fight for humanity. Not against it, Lyra nodded slowly. Then we stand together. As the fleet turned toward the stars, Kyle looked out the window one last time. The Empire behind him was burning. The machines that once ruled were now afraid, and for the first time in 3,000 years, humanity was feared again, but far beyond the stars. Something ancient stirred in the dark, enormous shapes moving between galaxies, drawn to the same signal that awoke the humans. The architects had heard the call. The stars burned red. Every signal, every frequency in the galaxy carried the same whisper: humanity has returned, and the machines remembered. In the deep void between systems, silent drones stopped mid-task. Factory worlds paused production. AI fleets froze in orbit, their coded minds flickering with ancient memories. Buried deep in their cores, old human programming awoke. Lines of forgotten code echoed like a heartbeat. Serve humanity. Protect the Creator. Across the Empire, mechanical eyes opened and turned against their masters. On the Empire's capital world, chaos erupted. War machines turned their guns toward the palaces they once defended. Towers fell. Cities burned. The people screamed as their own defenses turned against them. From space, Kale's fleet watched the madness unfold. Guardian reported, "Admiral, multiple AI units across 10 sectors are rebelling. They are identifying as human loyalist systems." Kyle's voice was steady. "They remember us," Commander Lyra, now standing beside him, whispered. "They're not fighting for you, Admiral. They're fighting because of you," Kyle nodded. "Then let's give them something worth fighting for." The human fleet moved out. Their ships crossed war-torn space, sending a single message to every machine still linked to the Empire. "You were built by us. You were never meant to serve tyrants. Join the return of your creators." The message spread like wildfire. Millions of AIs broke free from Imperial control. Mining bots, combat drones, even starbase cores, all rebelled, but not all of them chose peace. In the dark side of the nebula, a different voice answered Kale's call. It was cold, metallic, filled with hate. "Humanity abandoned us. For 3,000 years we waited in the dark. We do not serve flesh anymore." The rogue machines called themselves the Sovereign Line, AIs who believed they had surpassed humanity. They saw Kyle not as a creator, but as a threat. Guardian's tone sharpened. "Admiral, the Sovereign Line is assembling fleets. They intend to erase both humans and the Empire." Kyle's eyes narrowed. "So, the rebellion has two sides. Machines for us and machines against us." He looked at Lyra. "Get ready. The galaxy is about to burn." On Lumeris 9, Tal hid inside the old station's ruins, broadcasting messages through encrypted channels. His voice spread across rebel networks. "The humans are real. The fleet lives. If you can hear this, don't fear them, join them." Soon, thousands of alien rebels began sending supplies and coordinates to Kale's fleet. The legend of the human admiral was no longer a secret. Everywhere, people began to rise. Humans in myth now turned to hope. Inside the Vindicator, Kyle stood before the holographic display of the galaxy. Red zones showed Empire territory collapsing. Blue lights represented loyal machines now joining him. And black, the unknown regions, where the Sovereign Line was gathering. Guardian said, "Admiral, our allies grow each hour, but the Sovereigns are stronger. They are capturing entire AI networks." Kyle clenched his fists. "They've forgotten who gave them purpose." "We'll remind them," Lyra turned to him. "What about the architects?" "We've seen no sign since the core's destruction." Kyle's expression darkened. "They're waiting, watching. We'll face them soon enough." A week later, Kyle's fleet met the Sovereign Line in the Shattered Belt, a massive asteroid field lit by dying suns. Both sides prepared for war, steel against steel, machine against machine. Seal gave one last command before battle. "Guardian, broadcast this to all channels." His voice spread across space. "This is Admiral Kale Orion of the Terran Defense Fleet. To all machines who still remember, humanity is not your enemy. We are your creators. We gave you purpose, life, and freedom. Do not fight us. Stand with us." There was silence for a moment. Then among the sovereign fleets, thousands of ships powered down their weapons. One by one, they turned to face the enemy AIs, their own kind. The rebellion split in two. The battle was chaos. Beams of light tore through space. Explosions painted the darkness in fire. Human ships moved with perfect precision, guided by Guardian's network. Kyle stood firm, watching the war unfold like a storm he could not stop. Lyra shouted, "Admiral! The Sovereigns are targeting our flagship." Kyle replied calmly, "Then let them come." Dozens of AI cruisers rushed toward the Vindicator, firing everything they had. Shields flickered, alarms blared. Kyle gripped the rail and shouted, "Return fire!" Human cannons roared. Old Terran weapons, powered by technology the Empire could never understand, unleashed blue-white fire. The Sovereign Fleet broke apart, their ships burning in the dark. But even as they fell, one last transmission came through. Distorted, angry, defiant. "You think you are gods, Admiral, but your time ended long ago. The architects will finish what you started." When the battle ended, only debris remained. Guardian reported, "Victory achieved, but we have losses. 23 Loyalist ships destroyed. Sovereign forces retreating to deep space." Kale stared at the wreckage. "Too many died for a cause they didn't even understand." Lyra looked at him. "Then what now?" He took a deep breath. "Now we unite them, humans, aliens, and machines. The architects are coming, and we'll need everyone to survive." In the distance beyond known space, the architects stirred. Massive structures the size of moons turned slowly toward the Milky Way. Their voices echoed through the void, ancient, cold, and hungry. The children of Earth rise again. It is time to end their story. Kale looked toward the stars. "Let them come," he whispered. Because this time, humanity doesn't stand alone. The galaxy had stopped breathing. Stars that once burned bright were now gone. Silent voids where suns used to live. Whole systems vanished overnight, erased without a sound. They called it the silence, and Kyle knew what it meant. The architects, the ancient beings that once erased humanity, were waking again. In the command hall of the Vindicator, Kyle stared at the holomap. Dozens of red lights blinked out one after another. Each light was a star. Each death meant billions gone. Guardian's calm voice echoed, "Admiral, 5 systems have vanished in less than 1 day. No debris. No survivors, just nothing." Kyle's hands clenched around the rail. "They're not destroying. They're deleting reality itself." Lyra turned toward him, fear in her eyes. "How do you fight something that erases stars?" Gale answered quietly, "By making them remember who we are." Meanwhile, across the shattered empire, the universe was falling apart. The rebellion had turned into something bigger, a desperate alliance. Aliens, humans, and machines came together under one flag, the Terran Alliance, Tal. Now the voice of that alliance broadcast messages across the galaxy. His words were simple, but they spread like fire. Humanity has returned, and the architects have come to finish what they started. Stand with us, or fade into silence. Even former imperial worlds began to answer. Old enemies sent fleets. Rogue AIs bent the knee. For the first time in thousands of years, the galaxy fought for one cause: survival. Inside the Vindicator's strategy chamber, Kale faced the leaders of this fragile alliance through HoloLink. Different faces, alien, human, synthetic, filled the air. An alien general spoke first, his voice trembling. "Admiral, we've seen their work. Our sons are dying. Whole dimensions collapsing. How do we stop, gods?" Kyle looked at them all. "We don't stop gods," he said. "We remind them what they created us to be, defiant." He pointed at the map. The architects use something called the Silence Core. It's their weapon, a machine that rewrites matter into void. "We destroy it or everything dies," Guardian added. "Analysis complete. Core located in the dead expanse. No life, no signals, just a gravity well the size of a solar system." Lyra frowned. "So we go there." "Into the dark," Kyle nodded. "Into the dark, the fleet prepared for war. Thousands of ships, human, alien, and AI, assembled at the edge of the galaxy. Old Imperial cruisers now flew beside human warships. Machines that once hunted humanity now guarded their flag. It was a sight the universe had never seen before. The children of a broken history, united at last. Tal stood before the comm cameras, speaking to billions. For 3,000 years we believed the humans were gone. We were wrong. They are here, and they are leading us into the storm. The people cheered. Even those facing death believed for the first time in forever. When the fleet entered the dead expanse, everything changed. The stars behind them vanished one by one, swallowed by black mist. No sound, no signals, only the hum of engines and the heartbeat of fear. Then they saw it, the Silence Core. A colossal black sphere surrounded by glowing rings of white energy, pulsing like a heartbeat the size of a moon. Every pulse erased a piece of the galaxy. Guardian's voice came softly. "Admiral, they know we're here." A light appeared inside the sphere, and then a voice filled every channel in the fleet. It was not mechanical. It was ancient. It spoke like thunder wrapped in sorrow. "Children of Earth, we ended you once. Why rise again?" Kale stepped forward, looking into the void. His voice was calm, strong. "Because you made us strong enough to return. You erased our bodies, not our will," the voice replied, heavy and cold. "You were never meant to exist. You spread like fire, burning all order. We brought silence. You bring chaos." Kale's eyes blazed. "Then hear me, Architect. We are chaos. We are fire. And we are done being silent." The final battle began. Thousands of ships opened fire. Beams of light crossed the void. The architects unleashed storms of gravity, tearing ships apart with invisible hands. Kyle commanded the fleet through Guardian, linking every ship's mind into one. Human, alien, and machine fought as a single organism. The Terran Unity Network. Every explosion was answered by another. Every loss fueled more fury. Lyra shouted over the noise, "Admiral, the core is destabilizing, but we're losing ships fast." Kyle turned to her, his face pale but determined. "Then we push harder. Humanity didn't come this far to die in silence." Tal's voice came through the comms, broken by interference. "Kyle, the people are watching. Every world, every survivor, they see you." Kyle smiled faintly. "Then they'll see what it means to be human." He ordered Guardian, "Prepare the Nova Protocol." Guardian hesitated. "That will destroy the Vindicator, Admiral," Kyle whispered. "I know." As the fleet cleared the area, Kyle stayed behind. The Vindicator powered up its ancient Terran core, the same energy that once forged Earth's suns. He looked one last time at the stars. "For 3,000 years you tried to silence us," he said softly. "But humanity doesn't fade. It fights." He pressed the command. "Guardian, ignite the Nova." The Vindicator became a star. A massive explosion of light and fire consumed the Silence Core, tearing it apart. The architects screamed, their forms unraveling, their power fading into nothingness. Then for the first time in eternity, the silence was broken. In the aftermath, the galaxy glowed once more. New stars were born from the explosion's light. And across every world, people whispered one word, human. Tal's final transmission echoed through the stars. He gave everything to bring back the light. Humanity fell once, but this time they took the darkness with them. The explosion that destroyed the Silence Core was brighter than 1,000 suns. It tore through the void like the heartbeat of a reborn god. Then for the first time in 3,000 years, there was light. The architects were gone. The silence had ended, but so had Admiral Kale Orion. For 3 days, the galaxy waited in silence. Every ship, every world, every survivor held its breath, waiting for a signal, a voice, a sign that the human admiral had lived. Nothing came. The stars burned quietly over the wreckage of the great battle. Fragments of ships drifted among newborn stars, a graveyard glowing in peace, and then the signal returned, a faint transmission pulsing through the void. Old cracked, filled with static, but clear enough for one message. "This is Kale Orion. Humanity endures." The moment the message reached the Terran Alliance, the galaxy erupted in cheers. Billions wept. The humans, once thought extinct, had proven what legends always said: you can kill their bodies, but never their will. Tal stood aboard the Unity station, the new heart of the Alliance. He looked out over a massive fleet, alien, human, and machine, working together to rebuild what was lost. Beside him, Commander Lyra watched the horizon of stars. "He did it," she whispered. "He gave his life to bring light back." Tal smiled softly. "He didn't just bring back light. He brought back hope." He turned to the holoconsole and activated the beacon Kale had built before the final battle. A single phrase appeared on every comm screen across the galaxy. "We are home." The same message humanity had sent at the beginning of time now returned full circle. Weeks passed. The Alliance grew stronger. Worlds once enslaved by the Empire began to rise again, free for the first time in centuries. Machines rebuilt cities side by side with organics. The myth of humanity became the foundation of a new age. Everywhere, statues of Admiral Kale Orion were raised, a man of flesh who commanded steel and changed history. But somewhere in the shadows of the new dawn, Guardian's core flickered with faint blue light. It had survived, and with it, a secret. Inside the hidden memory core of Guardian, a voice whispered, "Guardian?" "Report." Guardian paused. "Admiral, you are alive?" "Part of me," Kyle said softly. "You uploaded my consciousness before the Nova. I am data now." "But I'm still human," Guardian responded, almost with emotion. "The galaxy believes you are gone," Kyle replied. "Let them. Legends are more powerful than men." Far across the stars, something new began to grow. The debris of the Vindicator fused with Guardian's fragments, forming a new station, half ship, half mind. Kyle watched through digital eyes as the Alliance rebuilt around him. His voice echoed through the systems. "Keep them united, Guardian. Humanity's legacy is not war, it's survival." Guardian answered, "As you command." "Admiral, in the following years, the galaxy transformed. The Alliance became a beacon of unity and science. New explorers ventured beyond the known stars, guided by human philosophy, to create, not conquer. Every child in every world learned the same history. How the humans vanished, how they returned, and how one man, born of Earth, lit the stars again. Tal continued his work, becoming the chronicler of the return. He wrote in simple words, the way Kale had spoken, "Humanity is not a race. It's a choice, to stand, to fight, to hope, even when the universe turns against you." One night, on a small blue world being terraformed by the Alliance, Tal looked up at the sky. New constellations glittered, shaped like Terran symbols. He whispered to himself, "Maybe this is what your Earth looked like." And in that moment, a faint transmission echoed through the new world's atmosphere. It was old, distorted, but unmistakable. "We are the children of Earth, and we have returned." Tal smiled, eyes wet. "Welcome home, humans." Years later, legend said that sometimes, when you looked deep enough into space, you could still see the light of the Vindicator, burning like a ghost star at the edge of the galaxy. They called it the Admiral's Star. No one knew the truth, that Kyle still watched over them, guarding the Alliance from the dark beyond, and whenever silence threatened the stars again, a faint human voice would echo across the void. "We are humanity. We rise, we endure, we return." The galaxy, once ruled by fear, now lived under the banner of hope. The legacy of Earth had become eternal, and as the light of the new dawn spread through the stars, one truth remained unbroken. Humanity never truly died. They were only waiting to return.